right, so this is our review of Spider-Man: Far From Home. This is the main event. This will be or at least what I've been waiting for quite a while. So, Mark, let's get this started.
Okay, so I've joked a few times every time we see Endgame, and I say we don't deserve this movie. I have to apply that to this Far From Home as well. We don't deserve this movie. We could save all the children, end world hunger, and still not deserve this Spider-Man movie. It was just amazing.
Okay, so before we get too far in, because I've listened to like reviews of critics and stuff, and so I kind of like they didn't lower my expectations, but they kind of like freaked me out a little bit. And why I say that is because, well, no, I guess my question is, how would you rank it among Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's movies?
So this is similar to what Tobey Maguire's first two movies did. Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man was the first time he'd been on screen, period. So everybody was excited for that, especially Spider-Man fans, which I am. So that was awesome to see Spider-Man on the big screen. Spider-Man 2, for the rest of the Spider-Man movies that have come out, is regarded, and I agree, as the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Which one?
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man
Okay, you
Tobey
still believe
Maguire's.
that?
What I'm saying is it parallels
Gotcha.
Tom Holland's series
Yeah.
to this point after Far From Home. It's following the same pattern. This is probably going to go down as the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Gotcha. So you've compared it to Tobey's. Where does Andrew's series fit into
It
that?
doesn't. I'm sorry. But those two movies, like, they might as well not even exist.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
rough.
And even with Spider-Man 3, and that movie was terrible. Now,
Really?
don't get me wrong.
I think Andrew Garfield's movies are better than Spider-Man 3. Like, I will admit the original ones were, like, 1 and 2 were better than Andrew's, but, like, Spider-Man 3 was just awful.
Spider-Man 3 was terrible. But I think for Andrew Garfield,
Continue.
Huh?
Nothing. I'm doing text-to-speech.
with not Tobey Maguire, with Andrew Garfield, that second movie had Green Goblin's son. It had Rhino. It had Shocker. No, not Shocker. Electro. It tried to do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
The same as what Spider-Man 3 actually did, which didn't work. Now, and I've said this before, and I still feel the same way. Andrew Garfield did okay as Spider-Man. I'm not taking that away from
So
him.
when you're when you're comparing the two movies and where Andrew's movies come in, are you talking about Tobey Maguire's portrayal of Spider-Man was better than Andrew's, or just the entirety of the movie?
Entirety of the movie.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so those were better films
Okay,
than Andrew Garfield's.
gotcha.
Now, that isn't to say Andrew Garfield didn't get a fair shake, because he only got 2 movies.
Yeah.
But that was probably because of audience reaction.
And I mean, like, even though he only got 2 movies, like, I don't think anyone's comparing his movies to Spider-Man 3 because most people didn't like it anyways. So him not having the third movie didn't change anything.
Yeah.
But anyways, all I wanted to know basically is what you said is that you think it's the best one.
Oh, yeah.
So I completely agree with that. And so I had read online, or I think I read somewhere online, he was saying that it was like this, it was an okay movie. It was like mediocre, and it was just what they were trying to do to wrap up the series or whatever, wrap up phase 3. And I was like, oh man, that's rough. Like, so they kind of like lowered my expectations a little bit. And then I like watched this masterpiece, and I was like, what was that person talking about?
Right.
Like, I know I'm not like so learned on movies or anything, but I'm just like, that movie was amazing. Like, what are you?
Anyone, and I haven't read any reviews because I didn't want to be in that position,
Yeah.
honestly. But anyone who says this movie wraps up anything wasn't watching this movie.
Yeah. No, well, I think their point was like it pushed everything from phase 3 down, like, because we were like, it basically, like, I think what they were saying is like it wrapped up the Infinity Saga, and we didn't they explained the blip and all of that stuff, like they addressed any questions we might have still had. Now we can move on, I guess, is what they were saying.
Maybe, but I didn't even see it as that. I just saw it. Well, I saw this honestly, even though there were a lot of Tony Stark stuff in it, even though there were mention of the Avengers and what happened with Thanos, this still felt like to me a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad that you said that.
It's standalone.
Because I thought that they did just the right amount of inclusion of the older, or
Right.
like Captain America and Tony. Because I was a little hesitant. I was afraid that they were gonna put too much emphasis on the I miss Tony Stark, not just from Spider-Man, but from everybody. And they really made it more about like who's gonna protect the world now, whatever. And so that leads into Mysterio, which like Jake Gyllenhaal and Mysterio were the best part of that movie to me. It's Mysterio, you know that character. I didn't know anything about him, so I went in fresh face, like not knowing anything about this new character. And when I saw the trailers for it, like especially the very first trailer, I was like, first of all, I can't take Jake Gyllenhaal seriously in this movie for some reason. I just can't. And secondly, I just didn't like the way that the character looked. But the way that he looks in the movie is way different, or at least it looked way different to me than it did in the trailers. Secondly, it's a good thing I don't cast movies, because Jake Gyllenhaal was the perfect person to play this character. And I think it was only after the turn. Because like him before, when he was like being all nice, I was just like, I don't really like this that much. I don't really care about this. And then the second he like screws Spider-Man over, I'm like, this is so cool. Like in that speech that he gives, or like literally like Peter walks out of the bar and like it's like, okay. And I thought Mysterio was gonna end up being a bad guy, but like I didn't know how they were gonna do it, and the way that they did it was awesome, because they immediately established him as a more sympathetic villain. Because like Thanos had his whole like, I want to destroy half the universe so that like people can eat, which was a kind of really flawed, weird plan. And you can't really connect to Thanos because he's some space thing, but like you can really connect with Jake Gyllenhaal's character, because it's like, and not only can you connect with him and understand what he's doing, but you can also what he's doing and why, but it also like made a lot of sense, and it tied perfectly into the story. Instead of them introducing some random new villain that has like from outer space or something like random like that, they introduced someone to fill the void of Tony, which is exactly what the whole movie was about. And now we have that person, but it's a villain, and that's awesome. So yeah, I was gonna mention something from the post credits, but we'll get to that later. But I guess I want to bounce off ideas about Mysterio. What did you think about it?
So, I agree with you that Jake Gyllenhaal and Mysterio were amazing parts of the movie. Would I say it's the best part? No, and I'll get to why later. But the character that the movie gives you, from beginning to end, it's just, you said it before, it's just a masterpiece in how to do character development.
Yeah.
Like, and I also felt the same way at the beginning about him, like, he's a good guy? Okay, well, he needs to be a bad guy.
So because you knew the character, right?
Right.
So before the movie, did you know anything about him being good or anything like that? Okay, I did know that, and so I assumed like they're gonna make him bad at some point. But like, so when you went into the movie, you were kind of confused, didn't like it, I guess.
So here's what was confusing about it. In the trailers, he is fighting that Hydro.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So at that point, and in the trailers, the one trailer that I saw anyway, they portray him as a force that is fighting something, and then Peter is there to help. So I didn't understand how they were going to move forward with that character, and him becoming the villain of the movie, and if they weren't going to do that, who was going to be the villain. And up until we saw the movie, I think is a couple of days ago, I had tried not to watch any trailers or read anything about it, or be around anyone who was talking about it. But I did catch something, and it was that Mysterio was from a different dimension.
Okay.
So I was like, so he's a good guy from a different dimension. No, I don't accept that.
Yeah.
Still, he needs to be a villain. And
So when you say you didn't accept it, you didn't believe it, or you just didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
So he starts telling this convincing story about how there are multiverses and how he's from Earth 616. I'm sorry, he's from Earth 883 and we're on 616. And that's comic book detail.
Oh, okay.
So that's a real thing
Gotcha.
he said.
Okay.
And then he says later on during the speech, people will believe anything.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have to believe that because it's real.
Yeah.
But also, this is a movie, so no, it's not
interesting because I wonder if he was presenting that as like, if him making that up was part of like, if he knew that stuff was true and he used it to enhance his position or to make his story more believable or whatever. Or are we supposed to assume that in this movie he just made that up?
I think in this movie he didn't make it up. That woman did. I forget her name, but he in his speech he mentions to her, or he mentions her to the group.
Oh yeah, the story about the fake dimension. See, yeah, I guess I didn't know that those were actual comic details. But what I will say is I had seen that he was from. In the trailers, they talk about Beck being from a different dimension or whatever, and so. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is multiverse stuff. That's interesting because I don't know anything about that." And so that's what I was expecting. And like I said, I knew Mysterio was going to turn bad at some point, but I thought it was going to be like a Spider-Man and him were going to disagree on something because in the trailer, there's a scene where he's like bad things happen. Sometimes people get killed or something like that. And I thought that throughout the movie, Spider-Man was going to have to like wrestle with Mysterio's philosophy and trying to like find himself and find what he believes. And so I thought that was going to be how he turned evil. And so the way that they did it with him being evil the whole time and him just playing everybody around him was awesome.
Yeah, I really liked it.
But and also not even just that. So like I was telling you, I bought into the whole multiverse thing, the dimensional stuff, because why would I suspect anything else? And so the fact that that was also part of the BS was like really cool to me because like I was kind of like, oh, okay, like the snap tore a hole and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I wonder how they're going to explain that because I wanted to know how that happened, like what that looked like. And so I was already buying into all of that stuff and I was already interested from that perspective. And then they added this whole another layer to it of like, oh, these are all just drones that Mysterio came up with, and like there's all these fantastical storylines and stuff like that, and I'm like, best villain I've ever seen. Like, so, I know that I'm almost done. I know that like, I guess it's like I liked Thanos. Thanos was an awesome villain, but I mean like they stretched it over such a long period of time, and so that was what kind of made it awesome. Is that like. Because it spanned over all of those movies, that made Thanos cooler to me. But Thanos didn't capture my attention instantly. Like, when I first saw him all shrouded in mystery with, like, with people collecting the stones and stuff, I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I don't know anything about this character. And then when he showed up, the main thing I really liked him for was, like, his relationship with Gamora. I thought that was cool. I know you don't like that. But I just thought that was really, like, because that was a key part of the whole movie, though. Or I thought it was, anyways. But anyways, that doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. But I guess my point was, Mysterio is a villain who, once I saw that he was a villain, captured me immediately. Like, as soon as, like, he puts the glasses on and, like, the hologram starts to dissolve or whatever, I was like, you're my boy. Like, I know already that you're about to rock this movie, and he did, and it was awesome.
So, there were several things in there. So you talked about the buildup of Thanos versus being introduced on the spot for the first time to Mysterio. Well, that's the difference. Of course, one's not going to catch your attention immediately because you've been seeing him for 10 years.
Okay.
So, but I'm not taking anything away from what you're saying, or
Yeah.
the validity of what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you the contrast.
Yeah.
Now, it may be because I've seen a bunch of movies, but that bar scene was telegraphed like no other. I knew that was the moment we were gonna find out Mysterio was the bad guy. But
Oh, well, I mean, as soon as...
no, as soon as he said, "Let's go get a drink,"
Oh, really?
yeah, I knew.
Because I didn't figure it out until Spider-Man has this brilliant idea to make
Right.
him Iron Man, which I was like, what?
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
known him for 2 seconds.
Exactly.
And, like, not only have you only known him for 2 seconds, the world has only known him for 2 seconds. So, no, like, that is not a good idea. But that also made the movie more believable because he is just a kid, and maybe Tony is the one who shouldn't have given Peter those glasses. So
Both of those are true.
yeah, exactly. Because like I'm not shifting any of the blame on Peter. Is that what I'm saying? Tony should have never let
Where
that.
did we even get onto that? What are you talking about?
No, we were talking about the glasses and how I thought it was weird that
Oh,
Peter gave
yeah.
them to him. But anyways, so you were saying that was telegraphed because I didn't notice it until Peter's like, because like you could see in his eyes that he saw that as his out basically,
Mhm.
and so I knew that there had to be a consequence for that, and that's how I knew that
Gotcha.
Mysterio was bad.
I also knew because I know Mysterio is a villain.
Yeah.
I knew already
Yeah.
that he creates these things.
Oh,
to
so
fight.
you already knew how his powers
Yeah,
worked and
yeah.
everything. Okay.
Yeah. So that didn't come as a surprise. Once the movie finally revealed it, I was like, yes, let's do this.
Okay, gotcha. So since you weren't surprised by it, did you not being surprised take away from how
No.
awesome it was?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No. Again, they told the story very well.
Okay.
They gave the character portrayal very well, and how the movie wanted the audience to be enthralled in the illusion, and then how they revealed it. It was awesome. I liked it. I liked it a lot. There was I don't know how many times this happened, but every illusion scene was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
right?
loved every minute of it. I want
know.
more of that
So-
right now.
So, okay, like, it's funny because I think up until the part where when we first see Mysterio, no, that's not true. Up until the bar scene, I was like, okay, we're obviously still at the beginning of the movie,
Right.
but like, I was gritting my teeth because I was like, oh my gosh, when is the awesomeness gonna happen? Because like, as much as I like the cutesy high school stuff, I was like, I need to see what the action in this movie is. And I'm not always like that. You know my relationship thing.
Mhm.
But in this movie, I did not care about that. I was literally like, I wanted to know more about this Mysterio person. And so, I like, before that happened, I was like, okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna want to be coming back to this movie. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch it 1,000 times like I expected. And that was, obviously, I was being dumb because the movie had just started.
Yeah.
But once I saw that first, the bar scene and then the second scene, the actual first time where Peter gets like sucked into it
Right.
or whatever,
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen.
Right.
Like
Right.
that was all I needed
That
to see.
was the moment I realized we don't deserve this movie either.
Oh, okay.
That was it. And then every other time after it, I was like, no, you can't give us more.
So the thing is, like, I knew that the drones were going to continue to be used afterward, but I didn't know in what capacity, in what way. I thought he was only going to use them to create the elemental creatures after that. So I thought we weren't going to see that again. But the fact that it happened like 2 more times, I was like,
Yeah.
Like those things, like for example, the big fight at the end of Endgame, like that, I would still say that was better and bigger than this, of course. But
I don't know.
see that? Okay, this is
Oh,
exactly
wow.
what I'm getting at, though, is because the only reason I think that was better I won't even say better, but the only reason I think it was more impactful was because it had been built up for so long, and like that, it was the culmination of that whole fight, which was like 10 years for us, and so the fact that they were able to deliver that same level of intensity with a standalone movie.
That's why I think it has the edge.
Yeah.
Because I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
And it, again, because I'm such a big Spider-Man fan, and having seen that in the cartoons so many times, like, that's something that Mysterio and Spider-Man actually did. That was a real cartoon fight they had up there. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was kind of like
they brought it to life in a way that was good, like realistic.
Amazing.
Okay.
It was amazing. So when you compare it to the Endgame, it's honestly they're different. Both of them were amazing set pieces. I think because we only got the one scene in Endgame versus the 3 we got in this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's heavier in my memory. And in Far From Home, they invoke dead Iron Man. Like, how ruthless was that?
That was like a low blow.
That was so low. Had spiders crawling out.
Oh my gosh!
Rotten.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that was rough. And I guess it's just like that leads more into back to me being in love with Mysterio, because like that, it was the way that he spoke to Peter when he was in that, like, was almost cooler than the effects to me, because of the way that he was just so evil.
Oh yeah.
But like at the same time, he had such charisma that it was like, wait, am I supposed to hate you because you're awesome?
Right.
But like, I think that there was just something about that level of just like horrific sadism, because like even with Thanos, he seemed benevolent. Like he was crazy, but like I understood his intentions, and I understood the fact that I understood why he believed what he was doing, and I understood and empathized with what he was doing the entire time. With Mysterio, I was like, I understand what you're doing, but I also understand that you're crazy. Like, so, but it's awesome.
Here's why that was so good. The movie, and even Mysterio himself, says so. He says that he's crazy.
Oh, when did he say that?
I think it's during the speech. He says something about no one listens to a crackpot giving a speech.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exactly what he was doing.
Oh, okay.
That's who he was.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he wasn't talking about himself.
Yeah. But it was like, that was the irony of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Whatever you do is going to be awesome, because you're nuts. I get it. Who gives this speech in its full leotard at a bar in front of this group of people?
So, okay, here was what I was going to be disappointed for a second, because when he takes the suit off, when he says, like, get this stupid suit off of me, I thought that he was reporting to someone. And so I thought we were waiting to see whoever his boss was, and I didn't like that.
Like a Mandarin kind of thing?
Yeah. Something like that. And so the fact that that didn't happen made me even happier, because I was just like, oh no, it is him. He's spearheading this whole thing. He's a psycho, and I'm ready for it. Like,
I also thought something weird was happening. I thought we weren't going to see the suit again.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wait, why is he taking it off?
I like mildly thought that, but then I think they cleared that up pretty soon.
No, they cleared it up immediately.
Yeah.
But it was just really weird, like, between him taking the suit off, the holograms going away, and then him getting up and talking about how they're going to keep doing this plan.
Yeah.
I was like, why is the suit coming off?
Yeah.
And then I was like, if you're not going to wear the suit anymore, what's this Mysterio now? What is it then?
Mm-hmm.
And then he immediately tells you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for that split second there, I was like, wait a minute, this is not the movie I signed up for. Bring back Mysterio right now.
Yeah.
But they did, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Before we jump off of that, like, so I want to keep exploring Mysterio's psychopathy, because there was, so when he is like first showing that, like, his speech and all of that stuff, there's like actually this is like threaded throughout the movie actually, but not only the way that he talks to Peter, but the way that he talks to his lackeys and stuff too. Like the scene where he's trying to figure out where Peter Parker is, and he's like telling that William guy that Peter's blood is going to be on his hands because of whatever. I don't forgot what. Oh, because he found that thing.
Because he has to kill him.
Yeah, and so like you could see that craziness of like him really thinking he didn't want to kill Peter. But at the same time, he was like, I don't care, though. I'm going to do it anyways. But it's kind of unfortunate. That's basically all he was saying. And then it happens again because he's just like, Peter, come on, now I have to kill your friends, too? Come on, bro. Yeah. But I'm going to do it. And, like, so I just love the way that he was... Because, like, in his weird, crazy head, he was, like, still treating Peter Parker like he was friends with him. And he was just like, I don't want to keep killing you, but I'm going to.
So,
like...
That's funny because after it's the end of that first illusion set piece, he backs Peter onto these train tracks, and he gets hit with a bullet train.
Yeah.
And then he walks away for some reason because he doesn't know who Spider-Man is. It's not gonna kill him. What do you do?
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, I know that the way that they set that up is that, like, oh, Mysterio thinks he's dead. But then, like, the conversation he has, like, immediately afterward, I didn't really get the impression that he was completely under the impression that he was dead. Like, I think...
If that's the case, then he's just stupid.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't he go kill him? If he's not dead, he's going to come back after him.
I don't know how much of a threat he thought Spider-Man was. Like, I mean, I don't know if he didn't, like... classify him in the same way that Iron Man would have been. Like, I don't think he took Peter that seriously, to be honest.
Here's the problem with him. Maybe he didn't, but he still knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah. And I mean, like, yes, he knows who Spider-Man is, but I don't know if he knows exactly what his weaknesses are and stuff. Like, he might have known even if he didn't think he was dead, he might have thought he was injured enough to not be able to do anything or something.
I don't accept that.
Gotcha.
It's stupid. He's a freaking genius. Mysterio is.
Oh, yeah.
He can't be that dumb. Now, his hubris may have... No.
That's where I was going with it.
However, later, when he learns that Peter Parker is coming after him, he's like... And one of his, I think it's Michael, asks him, hey, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to kill him. You threw a bullet train at him, and that didn't do anything. So what do you mean you're going to kill him?
Oh, I don't remember him asking that.
It was maybe an hour later, and he finds out that Peter Parker and MJ saw that projectile.
Yes.
In that scene, he's asked, "What are you going to do?" And he says, "I'm going to kill him." You tried that once, and he's right there with your projectile. Like, he's still up to his same old tricks. So yeah, what are you talking about? You got to kill him. I thought that was nonsense. So here's one thing that I did not like about the movie. That whole plot line with that rando. The MJ boyfriend, love interest.
Wait, are you talking about MJ or are you talking about Ned and his girlfriend?
No, I said MJ.
Oh, I got confused. I didn't know if you... So you don't like that relationship?
No. MJ and that other rando.
Oh, that side plot that was happening that didn't need to be happening.
Didn't need to be a movie.
I don't know why that was a thing. I don't know why that was a thing.
Peter quelled it when he deleted the picture.
Yeah.
And then
it came up again for some reason. Yeah.
When MJ said, "Why are you taking pictures of people in the bathroom?"
Yeah. I didn't understand why any of that needed to happen. And also, like, because I think that they had, you know how they kind of like make a running joke out of that Flash guy who's like annoying. Well, I think that was enough. Like, we carried that on from the other movie. Like, for their silly, jokey stuff, they could have just kept doing that instead of adding this other weird layer of... Like, I liked his introduction at first, and I thought that they were going to do something cool with him because they used him to explain how the blip worked, basically. And it was like, oh, there's this kid that they knew when he was a child, and now they come back and he's their age, and that was weird. So I was like, oh, that's a cool way for them to, like, very like forwardly demonstrate like the effect that the blip had on people or whatever. And so I was like, okay, this could be an interesting character. But then they just made him this like weird pervert, and I was like, oh, okay, like that's fine. Although what, this kind of leads into something that MJ says later. But first of all, that scene of him walking in on Peter was hilarious. Regardless of what they decided to do with it afterward, the way that that played out was really funny to me. But what I wanted that to be though was not him taking a picture to frame him. I wanted it to be one of those moments where he just like awkwardly backed away and was like, "You do you, bro," and that was just gonna be the end of that whole thing. I thought that would have been hilarious.
Both of them would have been done.
I would have been fine with it that way if they had left it there instead of carrying it on like that. But that leads into one of, arguably, I won't say my favorite part of the movie, but the funniest thing that was said in the movie, where MJ is like, she's like, you must be like a male escort, and he's like, no, I'm not. She's like, well, then you're Spider-Man. Like, those are the two options right now.
Hilarious.
I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other joke, that joke that I mentioned to you.
I know the joke.
Yeah. So why would anyone think anything other than that? He explicitly said what it was.
Okay.
Like, he explicitly acknowledged that that is a funny thing that you could call that.
Oh, okay.
And I thought I was the only one who ever thought that. So I'm
I
glad
think
that... Huh? The movie thought it. Like, so someone else thought about it.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm wrong in this
I didn't
situation.
say you were. I just think it's stupid.
No, I have had that like weird perverse thought for a long time, and so the fact that like someone in the universe also thought that just made me feel better about myself. Like,
So I'm not going to lie and say it isn't a funny joke,
yeah.
but that's it.
Okay. No, it has nothing to do with it being funny or not. That's not what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah, it was just I was
I
glad.
know, and I'm saying none of that matters.
I just needed the validation.
There isn't any.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. It was a joke.
anyways, so
Oh, another thing that I didn't like, JB Smoove.
okay.
He needs to not be in movies.
Okay, I'm glad because I was gonna mention that, and I thought you were gonna troll me, but I didn't know why he was in the movie.
Me either.
Like, it was not
There was
necessary.
no reason for him
And
to be
like
in
the
that
school
movie.
teacher was goofy enough
Yeah.
that I mean he was actually kind of endearing because we had seen him already,
Right.
and like by himself he was funny.
Yeah.
So they didn't need to give him a plucky sidekick,
Yeah.
you know.
It was really
but
dumb.
I had it was so insignificant that
It
it was a
wasn't.
minor detail that I
It
didn't.
Because the entire movie, I was thinking, why is he here?
Yeah.
Because he's just some random celebrity.
And really, they never even explained who his character was in the movie. Like,
He's
it was clear
just
he was
another
just
chaperone.
another chaperone,
Yeah.
another teacher, whatever. But I was just like, why did... I mean, I guess, like, realistically, there's multiple chaperones on trips like that, but we didn't... No one's gonna notice that. No one cares.
They could have gotten some other random.
Just some random person,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't... And they didn't need to do that. Like, there was enough awesomeness
No.
in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think adding J.B. Smoove, a person I didn't even know the name of, to
Right.
this, and no, the people that like, I'm not saying that he's not a well-known actor, he probably is, but like the people they're appealing to watch these movies don't know who that is.
He's mainly a comedian, not
Oh,
even
okay,
an actor.
gotcha. So yeah, I don't know why they decided to do that.
It was really.
I
none
think
of
that
his
they-
lines were funny. Like
I think that this movie, and I've heard from the cast that they wanted it to be like a pick-me-up from Infinity War,
Mhm.
which it was in every way. Like,
I didn't need a pick me up.
Oh, really?
No.
because there are people who take movies too seriously, and a
Yeah.
lot of people were like depressed after Endgame.
Stop it.
But like, I guess like I wasn't
No,
talking about my.
I wasn't talking.
No,
about
I know,
you.
I know. I'm saying like just the way that I rationalize it is like I don't get like depressed in my actual life because of these movies, but like when I'm watching a movie with a long story arc like this, after a while I'm like, okay, in this thing that I'm invested in, I want something happy to happen.
So-
but like it doesn't affect me as a person.
I don't get any
Gotcha.
of that. None of that. It's a movie, and once that movie's over, I go back to real life.
Well, no, but then you go back to see the next movie.
Yeah, and then
So-
it ends.
Yeah, but no, I guess all I'm saying is like when that next movie comes up, I'm just like, can this one be a little bit better
No,
than the last one?
I
That's
don't-
all I'm saying.
I don't remember the other movie
Oh, okay.
or how I felt.
Well, I
during
carry.
that other movie. I don't.
To
Feel,
me,
I don't
when-
feel anything.
at all.
Sorry.
Not even just the movie, just anything.
Period.
I feel nothing. But no, like I guess just from a storytelling perspective, like I don't think of any of these as individual movies
That's what I
most
mean.
of the time. They're a continuous line in my
Yeah,
head.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm the opposite of that.
Oh, really?
The
Oh,
movie
okay.
ends, and then I
I
start
mean,
another
like,
movie.
if I were to go and watch Jumanji, or that Midway movie, let's just say that. That's just a movie that they made.
Mhm.
That's just a movie someone
Mhm.
made that kind of looks like Pearl Harbor. But, like...
Except it is.
But, like, that, I would go there, I would go back home, probably think about it in 12 years when someone randomly mentions it, you know? But, like, that's just a movie. It's one movie that was made to be seen just as one movie. But these movies weren't made for that purpose, so I'm watching them the way that they were intended to be watched.
I think you're under the impression that I don't understand that.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is, I'm not that way.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. But anyways, let's talk about this movie.
Oh yeah, JB Smoove. He's terrible. Stop
Yes.
it. I don't know if you caught all of the Iron Man homages,
I caught most of
but
them.
there are several of them.
There was like a weird Thor thing that happened too, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. It was like Captain America thing.
It was like
There were
Captain
several
America
Captain
and Thor.
America.
Yeah.
But did you notice the armor building scene?
Like when Peter was building his suit.
Yeah.
What about it?
That was in Iron Man 1. With
I
that
mean-
music too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I very clearly looked at it and I was like, okay, they're making him look like Iron Man, but I didn't know that the scene was
Yeah.
like exactly the same.
Not exactly the same.
Well, yeah, but that like the I didn't know that comparison had as many layers. As
So
it
when
did.
he put his arm in and that thing
Yeah.
goes around, he does that in Iron Man.
Okay, that looked really familiar. I didn't know if it was just from the trailer that I
And
watched.
when he was tinkering with all the blueprints and
yeah,
3D, like,
that
happened.
that I remembered.
So that was really cool. Even the background music that they played, I like that a lot.
Oh, really quick before we get too far. So the weird scene with the prostitute scene, like with Peter and when he got the picture taken of him, when he first walked into that room, I saw like kind of longish blondish hair, and I was like, oh wait, is Pepper here with Nick Fury and everything? So I got really excited because I thought that they were gonna have her show up and talk to him about something, but then I was like, oh, it's just some random lady, and then it got weird. But
I honestly thought it was Hill, and my eyes were just
You thought it
playing
was
with
who?
me. Hill, Agent Hill.
oh,
I was like, it's Agent Hill.
gotcha.
But then I was like, her voice doesn't sound right.
Gotcha. No, I saw the hair.
No,
so-
I did too.
Oh,
But I
oh, but you
my
just thought,
eyes
yeah.
were messing with me.
I guess what I meant by that is I didn't think that. So.
Fair enough.
But we were just talking about what were we talking about? I don't know. Whatever your
Oh,
next
you were
thought
talking
is.
about the Iron Man homages.
Oh yeah.
So this was just the best kind of movie. I don't think it's fair for other movies that this movie exists. It's really not fair. I mean, the effects in those illusion set pieces. They were all just as good as any of the other ones.
Mhm.
And you really got a sense for how Peter was lost
Yeah.
in these illusions.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't tell what was real either.
Yeah.
And you got the sense and you felt every emotion that he was feeling going through. And the second one where Peter goes to Nick Fury. Or
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he's driving. Nick Fury's driving, pulls up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Peter
yeah.
gets in the car. And he takes him to this shield base. And it turns out that's an illusion too.
Yeah.
All of that is a setup.
Yeah.
And then this is right before the bullet train, actually. But Mysterio anticipates that Peter is going to go to Nick Fury, tell him what's going on,
Yeah.
and Mysterio will
Like
be
that's
foiled.
how like far ahead
Yeah.
that Mysterio was. Yeah.
And that's what a moviegoer would be expecting from
Yeah.
a storytelling perspective. So it fooled me. I was
Yeah.
like, that is amazing.
Right?
Like, wait, and the movie also plays with his spider sense. They call it
The Peter Tingle,
and
yeah.
I hated that.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna hate that.
It's gross. Stop it. Like, Peter had the right idea. It's gross. Peter Tingle.
And it's funny that he's the only one who thought it was gross. I guess because it was embarrassing. But like, I was like, why is everyone else playing along with
Yeah,
that?
like
But
those are just awkward words to put together.
yeah,
But they play with his spider sense as him still developing it,
hmm
and it.
Oh, I didn't know it was him developing it. I thought he was shaken up from the Iron Man thing.
I don't
That's why it
think that
wasn't
was it.
working.
Because
Because I thought it was similar to like what happened to the Hulk, basically.
throughout the entire series, wherever Peter has shown up on
Yeah.
film, Tom Holland's anyway, it's been spotty.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. Okay.
So it.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that they have. That's a detail that people were able to notice because I didn't know that,
'Cause
and
a
that
lot
they
of
were able
people-
to expand on it in this movie.
A lot of people were, first of all, upset that he didn't have it at all, and then all of a sudden he does have it, and then there are scenes where he should have known something and he didn't, and then there are scenes where he preemptively strikes or defends himself.
Mhm.
So, like, they've been juggling whether or not he has it.
I want to talk about his Spidey sense really quick. So I was watching this interview with Tom Holland and Zendaya and Jacob, who plays Ned, and they were talking about like funny fan theories or whatever. And Tom's like, "Yeah, so I saw this theory online. They were like, Spider-Man's death in Infinity War is so depressing because his Spidey sense is going off, and that's how he can tell he's dying." And Tom is just like, "Yeah, that's exactly why I did that." It was so funny because apparently that is not what they were doing in
That's
the movie,
hilarious.
and everybody like, I'm glad people saw it that way because that's canon to me now, like, because that's awesome.
Mhm.
And the fact that the directors actually didn't do that on purpose is
Well,
kind of
how
hilarious.
do you know they didn't, though? Tom Holland.
He could just be lying,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just thought that was really funny. If I want that to be true, I want it to be true that they didn't do it on purpose because that just sounds awesome.
Fair enough.
Because I mean, there are a lot of times when like the fans will come up with something more interesting than what the actual people did.
Here's-
It's not always, but it
Here's-
happens
Here's
sometimes.
the problem with that. I wouldn't know.
Huh?
I wouldn't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't contribute to it.
The zeitgeist. Oh
It's the
man,
worst.
the zeitgeist is my life.
I hate it.
I think so. The zeitgeist.
But the illusion and his spider sense goes off, but only to tell him that Mysterio is near, not literally standing in front of him.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury gets shot, and I'm like, what? Nick Fury got shot? Is he? I know he's not going to be dead, but he's out of commission basically. And here's another point in the movie where we get a sense of how strong Peter Parker is. He falls like 20 flights down, hitting the steel frame of the building that's still being constructed.
Yeah.
And it's dropped onto a car. So we leave that area and we think it's over. Mysterio walks out. He doesn't have his suit on anymore. He's just got this regular fishbowl on his head with microphones on it. And the spandex that he's wearing has motion capture sensors on it and stuff. He looks very like he's just in costume. And we hear a gunshot. And it's Nick Fury shooting him in the back. And we're like, oh, okay. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. swarms and they're about to arrest him. And then they pull the wool over again.
Yeah.
And I knew we were getting had when Nick Fury walks up to Peter and starts talking to him. And this is where he gets Peter to tell him who else knows about Mysterio and the
yeah.
plan. And as soon as Peter gives up the names, he crosses his arms.
That was when I figured it out.
He's
too.
like, oh, okay, that's still Mysterio.
Yeah.
This movie's amazing.
That's what, yeah. Because, like, so it was literally up until that point, and I was like, oh, man, like, Nick Fury's gonna bust Spider-Man again, like, give him a break.
Yeah,
but then, like you said, he crosses his arms, and I'm like, yes! Like, okay, and now I want to get to the third time Mysterio does this. And we won't talk completely about the post-credit scene yet, but I loved that moment where Mysterio's like about to die or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you the glasses back. Tony was right," and it was like, oh, "No, you don't. That's not true." And so Spider-Man is like, "No, I got you. I got your gun thing. You can't trick me anymore." And like our hero, like as the audience, our hero has this triumphant moment, and we're like, "Oh yeah," but like I didn't like that triumphant moment. Like I know it sounds weird, but I was super weirdly rooting for Mysterio most of the movie, like to be completely honest. And so it's not that I cared whether or not Mysterio came out on top, because obviously he's the villain, he wasn't going to. But I wanted Mysterio, first of all, to be in more of the MCU. I didn't want him to just be done.
He will.
I know, that's my point. I didn't want him to just be done. And secondly, I didn't want him to be bested by Peter Parker. Whether he was defeated by him is fine, but like I didn't want Peter to like beat him in his mind game. And so I think the fact that he didn't, and the fact that they stripped that victory away from him was awesome. And the way that they did it was awesome.
So, yes. What I still question though is whether or not he's actually dead.
How could he be dead?
He got shot by one of the drones.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how could he be dead if he did that thing at the end?
So, during that commotion, there's a quick flash to Michael sitting at the laptop, and on the screen it said projection downloaded, and he takes a USB drive.
Oh, so that was his contingency plan, like
Right.
if he died to screw
Right.
Spider-Man over.
So, I think they now have a projection
Some kind of projection of him
of
that.
Mysterio that they
Gotcha.
can manipulate.
Gotcha.
And he can still be.
So he'll
Mysterio.
be. Gotcha. That's even better.
I think that's what happened.
That's so cool.
Or at
'cause
least that's what the movie tried to tease.
that's so cool because like now they kind of had you know how you always say that people try to have their cake and eat it too? Well, if Mysterio is dead, then they did get their cake and eat it too.
And-
Because now we still get Jake Gyllenhaal, we still get Mysterio, and they still had a villain death. Like they got it all.
They did.
That's
and
awesome.
It's funny because during his death scene, before I saw him taking out the flash drive, I was like, why does Marvel keep killing off their villains?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you just wait. Give us like 3 minutes.
Right?
And we'll show you. Like every question I have about this movie, they're
Right.
like, just calm down. We know what we're doing. We're the movie makers. Just watch.
Yeah, this was like obviously with most films. So when we watched Endgame the other day for the 5th time.
Don't hate.
No, I'm not hating. Well, I guess that actually was what it was about to turn into. But like, I loved that movie when I saw it the first time and the second time, and most of it was Jake Gyllenhaal for me, anyways.
So, and you mentioned this at the beginning about the high school trip part of it. There were parts of that where it dragged on.
Yeah.
Again, what was his name? I don't even know what his name is. The rando.
Brad guy.
Brad?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
His name's Brad.
That's hilarious. Some of the Flash stuff, the Flash mob, that was like funny the first time. He
Yeah.
said it 3 more times. Like, stop.
Yeah.
You're really.
I actually
annoying.
didn't hear it until the last time he said it.
So, if they had put like other people knowing who he was,
Yeah.
or the number of followers,
I
how many likes he
think-
got,
I think if we were younger, like I think the younger audience is probably gonna like that stuff because they probably know douchebags like that, you know.
and they probably hate him.
Yeah, I know that's the point. They get to like triumphantly be like, oh yeah,
But nothing
we know
happened.
this kid at school
He didn't
who's
have
like
a
this.
comeuppance or anything like that.
Yeah, that's true. I actually like that they kind of like, because like, I like the fact that like Peter Parker doesn't have like a legitimate bully that they're making a big
Right.
deal out of. Because in the other movies he did. Like there was always someone who was actually like some idiot from school who was just messing with him. As opposed to this Flash character who is super annoying, but isn't like a bully necessarily.
Right.
He's just like a teasing kid. Like one of the kids in your friend's group who's just a douche.
Yeah.
Like that's all he is. And I like the fact that they did it that way because like I didn't want to put a lot of emphasis on random kids he went to school with. Basically, is what I'm getting at. And so, but to that point though, like they needed to pick one or the other with Flash or Brad. Basically, like they did. Neither of them needed to be in the movie at all. But if they were gonna do that, they should have just done one or the other and not both of those
absolutely.
random
Yeah,
characters,
Brad.
you know?
No, it should have just been Brad, not in the movie.
Gotcha.
I'm okay with Flash Thompson.
Oh no, what I was gonna say with the Flash Thompson though is they gave him this like mildly redeeming thing where Happy tells him like if it weren't for your Instagram we would be dead basically, and I was like, oh, that's nice. They kind of like threw him a little bit of a bone there instead of like completely crapping on him the whole movie. Not that I cared. If that didn't happen I wouldn't have cared at all, but I was like, oh, that was a interesting choice the movie made to not just like show him as a douche the whole time, you know.
And I think the reason that they did change the character arc for Flash Thompson is they don't have any intention of making him Venom.
Oh, good. That would be stupid.
Because he becomes Venom at some point.
Oh, so Flash Thompson's a real character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why he's in He's in all three trilogies.
Gotcha. I guess I knew. Oh, so Flash Thompson is the guy who the guy from guy from Third Rock.
What?
Not Third Rock. What's that movie? That 70s show.
No,
In
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace.
He's Eddie
Isn't
Brock.
he Venom?
Yeah, he's Eddie Brock. But
So
Flash Thompson also becomes Venom.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Um,
Third Rock. What?
what are you talking about? But no, yeah, Flash Thompson is a character in the comics who does become Venom also. I think that's why he's been in all of this.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I'm glad that they didn't do that merely because of the casting of this Flash Thompson. I wouldn't have wanted to see that guy.
That's the point.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they cast him knowing they weren't gonna do
Oh, okay, gotcha.
it. Well, that's what I believe. Anyway.
Yeah.
Because Sony still has the rights to Venom.
Oh, okay.
Proof with the Tom Hardy movie.
Yeah.
So, we're not going to get Venom. Well, maybe since they are a part of Disney now, but it won't be Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
Moral of that story.
Yeah. I was a little bummed that they didn't have Venom. I don't know. I mean, I think it would be fine if they never get to do Venom. Like, I would love to, especially like with like the sleekness of how they've done this Spider-Man. I think the way that they could do Venom would be awesome to see.
Here's the
but
thing.
if they can't, it's fine. But
Disney and Marvel can do anything.
yeah, that's true.
It's everyone else who sucks for some
yeah,
reason.
that's true.
Um,
But that's why I really wanted to see them get their hands on Venom because I just thought that would be so
yeah.
cool.
X-Men,
But Sony just needs to like calm down and just be like, I mean, Disney allowed them to stick their name on this movie. Just let them do the same thing with Venom. It's fine. But they're not
they're
going
not
to
going
do
to
that.
do that. There's a point in the movie where it does ramp up, and from that point until the end, I'm satisfied with every scene.
What point was that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Was it like Hydro Man?
I said I don't remember.
No, I was trying to jog your memory.
It's not there. Yeah.
I'm glad that Hydro Man happened fairly quickly. Like, I was thinking it was going to take longer. I thought there was going to be more, like, school trip stuff. And I kind of... the way that I was expecting this to go down, I'm not sure if it mattered, but, like, I didn't think the school trip was going to last the whole time. Like, I thought that, like, he was going to go on... I thought that, like, once they fought Hydro Man, the trip was over. I thought that was done. And so the fact that they threaded the whole, like, we're still on this school trip thing throughout the whole movie, I was like, okay, that's fine. But,
I liked it because...
The way that it looked at the end, like, with the full picture, it was fine. But I guess I just didn't care about his friends enough to want to see them that much throughout the whole movie. Except for Ned and MJ. But, like, Ned's weird romance I didn't care about. The Brad character I didn't care about. The Flash character I didn't care about. So I was like, But I understand why they had to keep those characters in there. It's just I didn't need to see as much of them as I did.
I wasn't even paying attention
Gotcha.
because I was more so paying attention to Nick Fury's manipulation of the field trip.
Oh, okay. I guess when you
So-
put it in that light, it is cool. Because the one thing I did like about it was because that line "Nick Fury hijacked our vacation" was in the trailer, but like I didn't know what they were talking,
Right.
like how that what he meant. And so the way that he actually did it, and like when Nick Fury like allowed him to leave, I was like, what was that's not this isn't over.
Right.
And everyone knew that, I'm sure, but like the way that they brought that full circle was hilarious because like Peter's just like, man, this nigga,
Right.
and it's just so funny. But yeah, so that was kind of cool. Like I'm glad that you mentioned that actually because it's like even I think they probably knew that people maybe weren't gonna want to see them on the trip the whole time, so that might be why they threw in that angle of like Nick Fury's taking it over and forcing it to be stretched out this way. But I thought that was even generous on Nick Fury's part to even indulge the fact that Spider-Man wanted to keep his identity a secret. I feel like Nick Fury would have just been like, I don't care. Like, these freaking monsters are gonna kill you, so it's not gonna matter if people know who you are. But I'm glad that they, like, made him more sympathetic than that.
Because of the end credit scene, that's why that.
Yeah, I guess in retrospect, yeah. But I guess, like, from a character perspective of Nick Fury being who he is, it wasn't believable to me that he would let Spider-Man walk
Exactly.
out of that room.
Because of what we find out.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, from...
It shouldn't have been.
No, I know. What do you mean?
You shouldn't have believed it because it wasn't true.
Oh,
You're
because it was
saying-
the Kroll guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or the Kree guy?
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So, one thing that was quelled once they explained it was like the movie opened up with Mysterio fighting this whatever.
Yeah.
And they spend like 15 minutes of this mysteriousness of Mysterio.
Mhm.
What he's doing, why he's fighting this thing,
Yeah.
Hydro Man.
Like how the world's reacting to him and
No,
everything?
no. Just he was on screen
Yeah.
fighting this thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, why?
Yeah.
And then he has this story. Like, well, okay. Him and Nick Fury are buddies. Like, who are you though?
Yeah, yeah,
What are
yeah.
you doing?
So there was a lot of stuff with Mysterio that was I think I had the same thought process of you as like I get that you're from this other dimension, but how did you get here? And like I guess I understand that like these things in your world did these things to your family and whatever, but I still don't know where you came from. And then like the fact that he just randomly was like trying to be friends with Peter, I was like, why do you care about him? So like that kind of stuff didn't make sense until it did.
Right.
But I guess I didn't question it as much as you seem to have. But yeah, I did get that sense of like, what's the angle that you're playing here?
Right. And that was it. It was just what, and that was probably the intention.
Yeah.
But it was just weird to have zero information.
Yeah.
But he just looks cool still fighting this thing.
Yeah.
Keep doing it, but tell me why. And then they did, and then they tricked me, and they tricked me again, and then tricked me a third time.
Right.
And I was like, trick me again.
That was what was so great about the movie is not only did they have a character who was manipulating Peter in the way that he successfully manipulated us too.
Yeah.
And that it's rare that movies can actually pull that off.
And these weren't red herrings either.
Yeah, as many times as they did. Yeah, that's the thing. Like they told us that this guy can play these tricks. They fooled us the one time. And they continue to do it. Like for somehow each one of them, except for the very last one. At the very last one, I was like, okay, I know what's happening now. Like Spider-Man did not just beat this evil genius. That didn't happen. So the last one they didn't get me on. I didn't know how. And especially your theory about it is awesome. If he actually is dead.
Oh yeah.
Like that's a really I didn't even think about that. But because if that's like first like again, they like hit the home run if that's what they're going for, because they got everything that you could have ever wanted from the ending of a movie. Because yes, it's like this whole Peter Parker won because Mysterio's dead, but the whole thing Mysterio was trying to do is not dead at all.
Right.
So that's what's so great about the way that they ended that movie.
That last set piece, this movie kind of blended Spider-Man 2 and I think both of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but ramped it up times 100. The web slinging in this movie was exponentially
Really?
what I wanted. Like,
Okay.
I can't even put into words. Like that last scene where he's got the black suit on and he's fighting all the drones, doing all
Yeah.
those aerial acrobatics, using his web slinger and his webbing in general to make catapults for himself and traps, and he swings around the bridge, grabs a whole bunch of these drones, throws them up into a cloud of other drones, and they explode. He just does a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
He creates basically a seizure inside that
Oh, yeah,
illusion
yeah.
where he connects his taser web
Yeah.
to all the different projectors.
That was cool. The way that he ended up fighting this thing
Right.
was cool. Because, I mean, not only were these super sophisticated drones, like, so you know that Mysterio does the illusions and stuff? You knew that from the cartoons?
Yeah.
Is it with drone technology?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's with magic.
Gotcha. So the way, I'm glad that it was the way that it was in this, because not only was it just cool that way and more realistic, because I mean, like, Scarlet Witch does magic kind of stuff, but like, I was glad that it was just kind of like the Vulture in the first movie. Like, he was just a normal person who like used technology to do things just like Iron Man did, except his was way less sophisticated. But this was someone who did the exact same thing, but was able to do it better than the Vulture could because he worked for Tony.
Right.
He was a genius like Tony, and he was a spurned employee, which happens all the time. I know that's a movie trope, but like it's also a real life thing that happens all the time. Because he more or less like shot up the workplace basically.
Right.
And so, but the fact that like the way that they were able to like pull off this drone thing was so cool. And like, because when they first showed when MJ and Peter first figure out the hologram thing, and they're like, wait, but there was real death and destruction. Like, I don't know how this happened. And even me, I was like, yeah, how did they do that? And I don't think I even figured it out until the very end where I saw the drones shooting missiles and stuff. And I was like, oh, they actually were blowing stuff up. It was just the effects of it are different.
So they tell you how they do that. Right, actually, it's before. Oh, it's right before Mysterio finds out that Peter and MJ found that projector.
Yeah.
When he says,
Does any of you want to get shot or whatever?
before that,
Okay.
it's in that same scene. Though.
Yeah.
He says, hold on, something's not right. Pause the projection. And he pauses it, and the illusion goes away, and it's just the drones. And he says, make the firepower ×2. And he's like, I need more destruction. And then you see the drones shoot missiles to destroy the statues and their columns.
So the thing is, I know I saw all of that stuff. There was so much happening.
there was.
And so the great thing about this movie is a lot of the times I'll see a movie and I'll be like, man, there's a lot going on. And usually that is not a good thing when I say that. This movie had all the things going on,
goodness.
and it was all perfect. Like, but yeah, like, so back to the drone stuff though, like, I loved the fact that, like, first of all, not only was it cool that they had, like, this normal person villain that was really, he more or less is as formidable, if not better than Tony was. Like, in a sense, like, the potential that he has to do certain things, even though he's doing it in an evil way, like, his command of the technology is, like, almost the same as Tony's, in my opinion. I'm not saying that he is as smart or as powerful, but like the way that he has ingrained himself into that technology is kind of the same way that
I would
that Iron Man
disagree
did.
only because Iron Man literally is that technology.
Yeah.
Mysterio has a group of people helping him.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's the only
now,
thing I
now
would
that I
say.
think about it, he has a whole team,
Right.
and Iron Man is just okay. That makes a lot of sense.
But that doesn't take away from him as an adversary.
Another thing I will say is the way that Jake Gyllenhaal performed this, like Mysterio looked like I don't know what they're like, a maestro of an orchestra or something. Like he literally, it looked to me almost like he was just like conducting an orchestra, and that's why I liked it so much, because it was like he was making a movie more or less. Like he was a movie director, and he was making the best, most violent, real life you're about to die movie I've ever seen, and it was so cool to me.
It was so ridiculous how good this movie was.
Like I don't know if you've ever. I've been watching a lot of stuff, but the director for this, his name is John Watts, and he did the first one too. But he's this really like shy looking person. He's very quiet. He's very like respectful and humble and stuff. And like you don't really like when you see him, you wouldn't think a whole lot about him necessarily. And like going off of the first movie, which was like this movie was 100 times that movie,
yeah.
and so I look at this movie and I'm like, man, this like quiet, like very reserved person has the mind of a genius. Like what he put on that screen, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's incredible.
So Marvel has always been reaching out and finding these lesser known talents and indie directors to do their movies. For example, Taika Waititi with Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, I didn't know that person's name.
James Gunn with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
He directed both of those movies, and he's gonna do the third one. Ryan Coogler with Black Panther. Like these aren't mainstream directors. Or they
Gotcha.
weren't
Okay.
mainstream directors, and they are now. But I named off all those movies, and those are all very distinct,
Yeah.
different movies.
Yeah.
Because all of those people have different visions and very different personalities.
Yeah.
And that's
Which I
just-
think is awesome. That was the perfect
I'm just
way.
agreeing with what
Yeah.
you're saying. Is just that all these people have something about them that just lights up the screen, and we're like,
Right?
yeah, give me more. I want
Right?
like right now.
It's so funny
back.
because like I saw this article and it was like this person who I think likes Disney, but the way that they phrased it, and they were like, I don't remember what the article was. They were just like, we just have to accept that there's no escaping Disney's like, or they were like, we just have to accept Disney's inescapable movie monopoly or something like that. And I was like, yeah, they have everything. Like Disney is the new Britain. Like they're about to just, the Disney Kingdom, the Magic Kingdom is about to be a real thing.
Yeah, they're taking it
Like,
off.
and that's just what's gonna happen. It's fine. Like,
And we're ready it. So
right?
it's a thing.
Like, it's funny because we're all distracted by Trump and his dynasty, and it's like Disney's just over there in the corner, like, we
just
know
go see
we know
movies.
who's running this country.
Yeah.
But anyways, though, yeah, like, oh, okay, so we can get back into other stuff, like more of the main stuff, but I do want to touch on MJ and Peter because I think that's important. But I like this more than Mary Jane and more than Gwen Stacy, and here's the reason: is because they in no way centered this movie around that relationship. He was obviously concerned about that the whole time, and he was obviously trying to make that work and stuff. And that is kind of like what it boiled down to at the end. But like for the most part, he had a lot of stuff going on. Like he was dealing with the stuff with Tony. He was dealing with being Spider-Man and not wanting to be Spider-Man. He was dealing with trying to get away from Nick Fury. Like all of the things, all of the conflicts he was facing weren't overshadowed by each other at all, I guess is what I will say.
Yes.
And so that was something that I really liked.
with Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy both, the scripts around the relationships in those respective movies were terrible.
Gotcha.
So, in the other two, that was the focus of those movies.
Yeah.
It was Peter and Mary Jane, or Peter and Gwen Stacy. That was the point of those movies.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this movie has the advantage of being part of a greater whole that those two didn't. So maybe they had to rely more on that.
That's probably true. But that's why it was kind of in the background, although I was still wondering how it was going to conclude.
Yeah.
Like, I was interested in that story because they weren't throwing it in my face.
Yeah, exactly.
And what was different with this one is that they were in high school, and it was actually like two people meeting for the first time.
Yeah,
and
being awkward. Yeah.
Being in a relationship. And what's funnier...
What I do want to say, though, is there was... I mean, I guess, like, there was stuff that happened because of the blip and everything, but I guess what didn't make sense to me, though, or not, it's not that it didn't make sense, but the movie opened with Peter being obsessed with her or whatever, whereas the last movie did not conclude with that at all. Like, his girlfriend, or like, the girl that he was into, Liz, like, had to move because of her dad being in jail or whatever. But they never actually established that him and MJ liked each other, or that he liked MJ. That just kind of began at the beginning of this movie. Like, I mean, he, like, kind of talked to her a little bit in the first movie, but, like, all of a sudden we're opening up with this movie and he's, like, in love with her. And I just didn't understand where that came from.
He's in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But, like, in the first movie, it looked like he kind of thought she was annoying or something. And then all of a sudden, there was no, like, nothing... There was just a switch, and he just liked her all of a sudden. I guess
that's how guys are.
I'm old. I'm an old man.
I can't deal with these. Ratings.
No, really? Already? We're doing ratings already?
I just wanted you to shut your mouth.
Gotcha. Okay, so now I want to know, how does Ned compare to Harry Osborn for you, or is it a comparison?
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Harry Osborn, from either of them?
Yeah, just the character of Harry Osborn. Like, how do you feel about Harry
not a villain?
It doesn't matter. I mean, as far as his best friend goes,
it's not the same because he's not a villain.
I don't know. I guess, like,
in both of the other
he
movies,
turns into a villain.
Yeah,
but
he's crazy.
He's always Peter's best friend at the beginning, though, and he turns crazy. Like, but
he's always crazy.
But he's always established as, like...
But he's crazy.
Yeah, but from everything we know...
I don't see anything else but the villain.
Gotcha. Okay, I don't see him as being the villain. I see him as being Peter Parker's friend who turns into a villain.
Oh.
Gotcha. Because, I mean, the only best friend or friend of Peter's that I've ever known is Harry.
Oh, that's fine.
So that's why when this Ned character came along, I was like, wait, what is this? And so it took me until this movie to accept Ned as his friend, basically. Because I was like...
were you waiting for a Harry character?
I didn't think that Harry was going to be introduced, but I thought, like... It's not that I was even waiting for that. It's just... I had been wondering if you had ever noticed a difference, but I don't know. I guess... It's not that... Because I knew that they weren't doing Oscorp. I knew they weren't doing Green Goblin. So I guess, like, if they had done Harry, they would have felt obligated to do that. But I didn't know... I just felt weird about the replacement at first.
Also, since this isn't Mary Jane either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
now that you say that. And I wonder, because MJ is a character in some of the comics.
I have no idea who she is.
Yeah, I had never heard of her, but Zendaya said that she was. But I wonder if Ned is too, or if they just made up
Ned is.
He is a comic book character?
Yeah.
Oh, so then that erases everything that I was saying.
Fair enough. Or you like just some random.
I thought that they just created him for this. Okay. No, that makes both of these things better. But I guess what I don't want, though, is... I don't think that they would do this, but, like... Actually, we've already talked about this, that they won't do this, but, like... It would bother me if those people were, like, people he knew in high school, and then, like, Harry and Mary Jane showed up later after he graduates or something like that. I don't think they're gonna do that. Because, actually... Gwen Stacy was in high school, too. Even though they were both, like, 50. Yeah. But, like... That graduation scene with Gwen Stacy, I was like, you're so old. Like, her and Andrew Garfield. I mean, I know that's every movie. Like, everyone's always too old, right? But that's my point, though. Is like I don't know why it took so long for them to realize that they could hire young actors.
Because,
or maybe have young actors literally only been good for the past 3 years. Like, is that what we're saying?
I don't think they had the vision for it.
Or like they didn't trust themselves enough to do it or something.
I don't think they trusted the actors. I
Gotcha.
think what you said, like, I don't think children actors were bringing people to the screen.
Well, I know that they weren't, but I guess I didn't know, like, I didn't know if that was because there weren't any good ones or that people hadn't had the opportunity to cast them yet, or like people had, or like these young actors hadn't had the chance to showcase it yet. Because I don't think brilliant young actors just came into being.
I don't think people were giving them a chance.
Yeah, no, that's what I was asking. That's what I was trying to get to.
Like
Okay.
they weren't even considering it.
Yeah. And like once again, to go back to the advantage this movie has, they were able to take that risk because this movie was already a part of something that they were doing and had a huge budget on.
One thing that grounded this movie was, I don't know if you noticed, but some of the effects you could tell they spent less money on.
Yeah, like his
so okay
like his
with it.
suit at the beginning.
First of all, yeah, the suit that was terrible, but there was a lot of blue screen
Okay.
or green screen.
Yeah.
I think it's both actually in some cases.
Yeah.
Like you could tell they were standing, like when they were standing on the bridge, you could tell in the background that it was fake.
Yeah.
In some of the scenes, that lava monster, you could tell that was like second rate effects happening.
But does that?
No, I said I'm okay with it.
Oh, okay.
I'm so okay with it.
Yeah. No, I guess what I was gonna say is like, obviously like it was maybe like a budgeting thing, but can we say like maybe it's because of Mysterio and the fact that it wasn't real anyways?
No, well, he didn't create the scene on the bridge,
Oh yeah.
but all the other effects that Mysterio created were real, were more real.
Oh, so you're okay. So it was just certain things.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Which again, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
It actually suspended my disbelief even more because it pulled me into, oh yeah, this is a movie.
Yeah.
Like I'm just watching a movie.
Yeah.
This looks like a cartoon that I'm watching.
Yeah.
That monster looks like a monster he would fight.
Yeah.
It was just.
I will say that like you were just saying this when we first started, but like this movie looked way more like a Spider-Man movie than Homecoming did.
Yeah.
Like I've never been as much of a Spider-Man fan as you are, but like even when I was watching this, I kind of felt like I was looking at a comic book or a cartoon or something. And I don't think I would have been able to articulate it that way if you hadn't said it. But no, that is really what it was. It looked like they made a cartoon, but it was real. And it was like, and I don't want to get too far back into the stuff with Mysterio. That was awesome. But I want to ask you about the suits, because you just brought up the suits. I loved that black suit.
Oh, me too.
Okay, because I didn't know how you felt about it. That was so cool. And like you would think, because it's like kind of basic, like it kind of looks like a really stretched out wife beater to a certain extent.
Can't do it.
I'm sorry. Well, it kind of did. But it was so cool though. And I was like, it's not like I wanted him to wear it longer, but I was like, I liked how they transitioned his suits, and I think that there was symbolism there. So he starts off in the Iron Spider suit, because he's still kind of stuck in his like Tony Stark, post Tony Stark identity or whatever, trying to separate himself and figure out who he is. And then he gets this suit from another potential mentor, basically, or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, like he's kind of in limbo trying to figure out like what to do next, and this person's coming along trying to help him. He gave him this suit, and he's still annoyed because he doesn't want to be Spider-Man. And then he's like, okay, I have to be Spider-Man, like I need to stop this. I'm gonna make a suit and I'm gonna do this. And he makes his own suit. And so I think that him going through those 3 suits was supposed to be like symbolic of his like growth as a character and breaking away from that like Iron Man shield that I guess he had been using.
And the irony of that is it brings him full circle back into how Tony Stark began his arc into becoming a hero.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that he's following Tony's footsteps or becoming Tony, or becoming Iron Man, but how Tony Stark came into the realization of how he's supposed to be a hero.
Yeah.
And who he's supposed to be began with him building his own suit.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, when at the end, when he builds his suit, he finally realizes, oh, this is how I need to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that there was a similar arc in Spider-Verse, where right before Miles Morales gets his big hero moment, he builds his own suit too.
Oh, okay.
And he goes through that same kind of progression with, in the universe, Peter Parker, then the Peter Parker from the alternate universe.
Okay.
And then, of course, the Spider-Horde. They all try to contribute into making him Spider-Man. And then at the end, he makes his own suit and is like, oh, this is how I need to do it. So that parallel, we got that parallel twice with the last two Spider-Man movies.
Gotcha.
But yes, that black suit was amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
And the suit that he did finally build, and not a lot of people know this, but the red and black is how the creators of Spider-Man originally wanted the suit to be.
Oh, really?
But when you drew the black on the page, and you wanted to give it different lighting, you put blue on it.
Oh, okay.
And it looked so much blue that people just started saying that it was red and blue.
Oh,
so
okay.
then they changed it.
Gotcha.
Originally, it was supposed to be red and black.
That's
like we
awesome.
Saw it in the movie.
Okay, I'm glad that you told me that because I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the
on
shading the black parts made
that
it
just
blue.
adds more to like John Watts' genius of like the fact that he's been able to incorporate all of this stuff for like real comic fans and everything, and that he's able to like introduce these real elements to people who didn't know and who had these like, I won't say misconceptions, but who only know this like other story we've been presented with about the blue and about not like that's super important, but I'm just saying like MJ, Ned, like all these characters that are actually a part of Stan Lee's universe that we would have never known about. So I think that that's really awesome. I think I had something else to say about the suits. Oh, I liked his like webbed that was
squirrel. Part of the original design too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
He looks like a freaking flying squirrel. Did you know that?
But he had that in Far From Home too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still happy about it. But I saw also in an interview that apparently Stan Lee's original vision for Spider-Man was inspired by a fly. He saw a fly like flying around, and he decided to base the character off of it, and at some point that turned into a spider, which is great because I don't know what Flyman would have looked like, but
right.
I mean, they did Ant-Man, and Ant-Man works, but a fly is gross. I don't know how they would have pulled that off.
I don't like that at all.
It's really gross. But yeah, I loved all the things with this movie.
Yeah. Oh, the end credit scene.
Oh yeah, of course.
So the first one was Hill and Nick Fury driving down the road.
That was the second one.
Was it?
Yeah.
What was the first one?
The first one was the big reveal. With
Oh,
Peter.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The second one was them and Nick Fury.
We'll start there because
that one was.
I don't know why.
They should have done the other one first.
Yeah, they should have swapped it.
But I think the reason they didn't do that,
probably because they wanted people to see it. If they had put that one at the end,
that makes people might have left already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point because I didn't really understand why that thing like that person was saying like, oh, what does that have to do with anything? It's like I know I'm not supposed to know what it is, but at the same time, I am more hooked. What's gonna bring me back or keep me in the MCU is not what I saw with Nick Fury.
Oh, right.
It's the thing with Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure if that was what they knew was gonna be.
Yeah.
But
did.
like I was not intrigued by that thing at all.
Yeah, they know that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what we're talking about is at the end, Nick Fury and Agent Hill are driving down the road. And again, this is the second end credit scene. And they shapeshift back into Talos and the other Kree from the Captain Marvel movie. And essentially, Talos has been dispatched to Earth to impersonate Nick Fury, going along with the whole illusion motif of the whole movie. And he's giving a mission report to Nick Fury, basically saying, hey, this threat has been taken care of, except there's another problem now. We kind of need you to get back to Earth.
Yeah.
Pronto. Then we cut to Nick Fury lying on a beach, hanging up his phone. The beach is again a hologram. He gets up, we find out he's in space with other Kree, and he's saying, get back to work, somebody find my shoes, there's ships being built, and you see deep space out in front of him. And I guess we're supposed to take that as he's up in space finding more Avengers.
Okay.
And
well, yeah, because apparently whatever he's doing is with Captain Marvel somewhere.
Right. So...
Oh, that's really interesting, because at the beginning where Spider-Man's trying to get anyone but him to do this, and Nick Fury kind of like really shuts down the Captain Marvel thing really quick. Like he kind of...
Oh.
Yeah, because he was with her.
That's why he said...
Yeah.
Because it was Talos talking.
Yeah. Oh, that's why he said it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because when Nick Fury said it, I was like, why do you care so much about
Right.
her? She's not regal.
Right.
Like, okay, that makes sense.
What I thought the movie was doing was like a tongue-in-cheek way of saying, yeah, we know nobody liked that movie.
Oh,
Don't talk
gotcha.
about her.
That might have
not-
been
that-
might have been a dual meaning, but
Oh,
no,
that's
it
so funny.
it makes so much more sense that he was like defensive of her because of him being a Creed. That
Yeah.
makes so much more sense. Oh, well, he's not a Creed, but whatever he is.
What are they?
I don't know.
I kept saying Kree hesitantly because I knew that's not what
It's
they
not.
were.
They're not Creed, but I don't know what they're called. So I'm just gonna keep calling them that
Good.
until I correct myself on the internet.
Right. So that was the second one. The more important one was Mary Jane. At the very end of the movie, Peter takes Mary Jane on a web slinging tour of New York,
Yeah.
wherever they are. I don't know if they're back home. But MJ's freaking out because who wouldn't web slinging for the first time? They go several miles up and down buildings and things like that. They land, and the movie kind of fades out. We come back to Peter Parker, or Spider-Man, getting ready to web sling away, and a monitor comes on screen, and it's Mysterio. And he doesn't have his fishbowl on, but there's a recording of him at the end of his fight with Spider-Man. And he's all bruised up, he's got cuts on his face, and he's all bloody. And he's frantically, as if he's sending a message back to his home universe that says, hey, I'm not going to be able to get off this bridge. We took care of the elementals that were here, but Spider-Man is trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Not only is he trying to kill me, but he's trying to take over this Earth.
Yeah.
Not only is he trying to take over this Earth, he has this technology where he has control over all of these drones, and he's about to execute billions of people.
Yeah.
And he plays an edited sound clip of Edith saying, no, not Edith, it's actually Mysterio, saying something to the effect of, all of these innocent people, are you really going to kill them? And then the real voice of Peter and the real words that he says is, yes, execute them all.
Yeah.
But he's actually, when he says that, is talking
He's
to
talking to
Edith.
like, yeah, he's telling her to execute the drones, not all the people.
She says, do you want to execute the cancel program?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then he responds by saying, yes, execute them all.
Gotcha.
And he's talking about shutting
Yeah,
down all of them.
yeah.
Which, I thought this was funny. When they execute the cancel program, all the drones just fly back up into space.
Did they really?
Yeah.
That is so
back into the satellite, where they could be of more harm later.
Well, it didn't say self-destruct. It said cancel. Like, when you cancel something on the computer, it doesn't blow up. Like,
I just can't believe that's what cancel does.
No, that makes sense to me, actually. That seems like the proper function of cancel.
The, what was it called? I can't remember, but in Iron Man 3, there's this protocol that shut down all of Tony's suits. All the, they weren't suits. They were androids or robots that he built. No, they were suits, actually. In Iron Man 3, he had all these suits. The Iron Legion that he had, well, that protocol blew up all of the suits. He knows how to cancel things.
Yeah, he knows how to cancel things. No, I understand that, but he didn't say
so
that.
Funny.
He said cancel.
It just flew back up into space.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, anyway, I know what you mean though. I want to I'm gonna get back into that post-credit scene in a second. I want to say that the name Edith and what it stands for is the best thing ever. Not mentioning it in the review. If you want to know that, watch the movie. I'm sure you've seen it already, but that is a nugget that you only get to see in the theater. But so I just loved that so much. There were so many parts of this movie that just had me like dying laughing, but that was like the first one that I was like, this movie is hilarious.
Right.
But no, so back to the end. So obviously I knew Mysterio was not dead. Or at least that his character wasn't over. And so I only knew that because, like I said, that guy was way too smart to be outplayed by Peter. At least completely outplayed by him. And so when that happened at the end, I was like, okay, this is good. This makes sense. And the way that he like pretty much like revenge porned Peter, basically. Like he just like blasted him on the internet. And I thought that was really interesting. And because I knew in this movie his identity needed to be revealed in some way, and I liked the fact that they like did this cheeky thing of like, oh, he's gonna come out and tell everyone that he's Spider-Man, but it ends up being this like dumb thing with Aunt-May and Happy, and I was like, okay, that's kind of funny, but I really was ready for people to know. But I'm glad that it wasn't just like a, hey, I need this, I can't deal with my identity being dual and blah 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 blah. I'm glad that it wasn't that, and that he got exposed, and the way that they did it was perfect. Like, it was so good. Because at first I thought it was going to be something really cliche, like during that battle someone saw him with Mysterio up there and recorded it. Because that's what I thought was about to happen. And I was like, okay, that's obvious, but whatever. But the fact that it was part of this like evil genius plan, and that's how we find out that he's Spider-Man, like that's perfect.
And it sets up, I think that sets up 2 movies.
Yeah.
Like, you can't close that box in one movie.
Yeah,
I don't think so anyway.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait for how they deal with this, and what also is interesting is who is going to deal with this.
Yeah.
Because you can't just call the police. He's kind of Spider-Man.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, because like I don't know if what needs to happen now is him trying to, in some way, change public opinion, like Batman kind of had to do, or because I mean he gets villainized at the end of The Dark Knight, and so like I'm sure this was inspired in some way by that, but or maybe not, I don't know, but that was what I thought of when it happened. But I really, there's so many directions that they can go with this, and they're gonna have plenty of time for us to talk about it so that they know what to do with it. But, and I think that's something that is one thing that, like, not even as a joke, that I'll say about the zeitgeist is, it would be nice, yes, if like all of these movies were just made and they were made completely in the vision of the director or whatever. But I think because of, honestly, like, I know that I've said this 100 times, you roll your eyes every time, but the way that they were able to blow me away with this new character, and the fact that Mysterio. I think Mysterio is going to be a villain for more than just Spider-Man movies. Like, he's going to be one of the big bads in whatever happens in the MCU. So the way that they introduced this new character was awesome. The way that Jake Gyllenhaal played this character was awesome. All of the illusions were incredible. So that alone has me way up there. The way that they wrapped up the Spider-Man MJ stuff, and the way that they didn't overplay it, and just how well balanced everything in the movie was amazing. There was the stupid stuff with Brad, and Flash, which I'll never like that stuff. But so that's annoying. But like those are literally like probably the only two problems I have with the movie. I kind of liked the whole washed up Nick Fury sort of thing. That was kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting angle because I think that they wanted to keep some kind of tie with what was going on with the Avengers. But I think for the most part we're in a post-Avengers world right now. That's what I'm hoping for anyways. Like,
I still think that was because of Talos.
Who's that?
The shapeshifter.
Oh,
that wasn't actually Nick Fury.
Yeah. Well,
So
no, but
he was pretending to react how he thought Nick Fury would
No.
react.
I guess I meant like what they're going for though with like bringing Nick Fury out of retirement basically and like bringing him back to Earth and not like I guess my
He
whole
wasn't on Earth though.
huh?
He was in space.
I know they are apparently telling him to come back to Earth though.
Oh.
And so bringing him back from wherever he was to kind of like clean up this mess or try to or whatever. Like that I guess that's what I meant with I mean even if Talos was just pretending to be Nick or whatever, like the angle that they went with that still of like how Nick Fury blipped and was gone and then whenever he came back I guess he started helping Captain Marvel or whatever. But the whole idea of it was kind of like they carried on Tony's death and Black Widow's death and Captain America getting old, and they kind of carried that on with Nick Fury, I guess is what it looked like they were trying to do, but then they kind of didn't do it.
I think you're right, and that's what they were trying to do, but they undid it for me when they told me that wasn't Nick Fury.
Oh yeah.
So whatever they wanted the characterization to be,
Yeah.
it wasn't him.
I think yeah, that's true.
Because I think what you're saying is the universe and the world and people moved on. Nick
Yeah.
Fury wasn't there, so he can't just all of a sudden be back
Yeah.
and want to be in charge.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, I guess the thing with Nick Fury, though, is, like, they pretended to kill him off a long time ago. They brought him back, and they're like, oh, surprise, he's in the
he's a
hospital, he's
soldier.
not dead. Yeah. And so, this other twist with him, like, oh, it's actually some guy pretending to be... I was like, stop doing the twist with Nick Fury. We've done enough with those. Just let him be there. Let him do his thing.
See, this one I didn't mind so much because he was actually out doing other things.
That's true.
In Winter Soldier, he was hiding in a barn.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. The fact that because like when they first showed him on the beach, and when he comes back or whatever, he steps out of that thing. Because at first I thought he was on the beach, and I was like, this is stupid. But then when he gets out and there you see all of this amazing stuff, I was like, oh, okay, this sets up some really, I won't say interesting because it's gonna take a lot to get me interested in Captain Marvel, but like it sets up something with Captain Marvel. She's obviously doing big things somewhere, and so I thought that was interesting. That it wasn't like you said, just him hiding away in a barn or something like that. But Jake Gyllenhaal, perfect. I love Zendaya. Like no matter, like she's great. Although like I did you ever see The Greatest Showman?
Mm-hmm.
So her portrayal, or her character in The Greatest Showman was awesome. Like one of the best characters I've seen on screen. Like she was so cool in that. And so it's obviously you can't expect an actor to be the same in any of their movies. That would be boring. But like, so seeing her as this like weird, quirky, awkward girl is just kind of funny when I compare her to that like sexy awesomeness that she wasn't. But anyways, that's not the point. But my point is Zendaya is awesome. And so I'm glad she was in this movie. And Tom Holland is also obviously awesome. So with all of this talent and all of this kind of like new talent, except for Jake, he's not new, but he's very new to the MCU, and he did a great job. Because when I saw Jake Gyllenhaal was going to be in this movie, I was like, I can't buy into that. Like, I don't need to see Donnie Darko in this movie. I don't need to be watching Brokeback Mountain. As much as I love all the gay things, like, I don't need that right now.
Wasn't that like 2006?
Yeah, but I only know him from those two movies though.
It was 2006 and 1995.
Donnie Darko?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying those are the only two things I know Jake Gyllenhaal
You
from.
should know him then, is what I'm saying.
And I know Maggie Gyllenhaal from Batman. Those are the only reasons I know them. But anyways, so I was like... Lifetimes. But no, like, so... I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but I wouldn't have wanted to see anybody else play Mysterio now that I've seen it. But, so yeah, I think with all of that taken into account, like, I know that, like, you're not... I don't want to be, like, being crazy with this number. Because I feel like anyone listening to it is just going to be like, oh, you've been talking about this movie for so long and giving it this really high number. But, like, no, it was actually really good. And my number is a 9.3.
So... First of all, your number's too low.
Really?
Yeah. It's like 0.7 too low. What do you do? What are you doing?
Well, who gives out perfect 10s? Are you allowed to do that? Like...
What's the closest to 10 that I can get
without it being
10?
9.99999.
Repeating. This is so okay. Well, we'll drop down to 0.00 Infinity 1 for the JB Smooth.
Okay.
Because he's terrible.
Okay.
For the Brad nonsense.
Yes.
But literally, other than that, this is the perfect movie.
Yeah.
Like, this might be... Gladiator is still my favorite movie. But that's a different kind of favorite.
That's not... You can't even compare them.
This might be the best movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
And it may be that I'm thinking about Spider-Man, web slinging, and the illusions. Like, that was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was the closest to the Spider-Man that I grew up watching. And that we've had on screen this whole time in the 6 previous movies. The storyline was great. What they did at the end with the twist, all of the illusions.
Oh my god, the
seeing
illusions.
The illusions. This I don't know what Marvel has up their sleeve next, but it's gonna be very difficult to top it.
Yeah. So, one of two things just happened. They either set the bar really high and they're not going to be able to reach it, or they just gave us a small taste of the amazingness that they're going to be doling out in Phase 4. And I hope, and I honestly believe it's the second one.
Right.
And so that's amazing to me.
Yeah, they have all my money.
Oh yeah, they have my soul.
Yeah,
like for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm telling you. I accepted Disney into my heart. Like, I was born right around the Magic Kingdom, and they've been after me this whole time. And they got me. Like,
wrap it up.
But yeah, so I want this to be in the review because it's funny. When are we seeing this movie again? Because I'm gonna see this all the times. Like,
I don't know. Friday?
Okay.
No, not Friday. Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down. But yeah, so what's your number though? You didn't give a number.
Whatever is closest to 10.
Oh, you were
being
serious
10.
about that.
I was dead serious about that.
Okay, 9.6 is our number.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yes, so props to everyone involved in this movie. It was more than any. It was This is what I'm talking about. What's happening to my mouth right now is what this movie just did, and it's amazing. So I hope everybody else loved that as much as we did. I'm sure I mean, it was weird because like leaving the theater, I heard some kind of like, as like some kind of like, oh, that movie was okay. I'm like, did we just watch the same movie?
Right.
Like, but anyways, so I don't know, but and also I think a lot of the people who were probably blown away by it, like us, went at midnight.
Yeah.
So I think if we had gone to one of those showings, like the crazy fans would have been like, yeah. And I mean, the cheer in this room was amazing though. I didn't clap, which I usually do, because I go along with the zeitgeist. But
I was containing it
yeah,
for this.
yeah. Oh, that's true. I think I was trying to save all of everything that I was doing for this. But yeah, so man, now I'm feeling like a douche for dragging our number down. But no, it's what needed to happen because I couldn't have taken, I couldn't have like allowed myself to give anything a perfect 10 because I would have thought that I was being crazy. So, but okay. Anyways, that is our review of Spider-Man: Far From Home. Hope you all like it. And I'm being so awkward, so I'm just gonna say my salutations. Thanks for listening.